Hello all, and welcome to a bit of a late update. I missed out the third turn because I did the record and the sound quality was crap, basically. So this is now the end of turn 4. Not a lot drastic has happened. There's been no big movements, but what has happened is the bat lines have started clashing now. So this is just a quick overview of the current affair. We still have a lot of units behind these lines that are trapped. They've been there from turn 1 and he is not attacking them at all. It's very odd. I think I know why, but I'll get into that in a wee bit. Battle line wise, he's now connected around Minsk area and he started trying to push straight through, but I've reacted with reserves. He's also started kind of coming around the corner. In the swamp, we've clashed head on, which I'll show you up close in a minute or two. And down south, he's pushing hard sort of up here towards Kiev, whereas in the rest we've kind of held a bit. And now down the bottom here, the German allies have started pushing across as well, but I've managed to pull back most of the forces. I've also started building my second line along the Dnepr there, and around the Crimean sector a bit. Up to north, we've still got a big gap in our line here behind Minsk, but I think we'll be okay for another turn. And we'll look at the Arctic in a moment. So here's the Arctic sector. As you can see, they've started pushing across now, across the border with some guys. I've pulled most of my guys back again. The idea is generally to try and extend his supply lines. I've sneaked a wee ferry forward because he's exposed some artillery there, so I'm going to try and see if I can get a bombardment on it. Otherwise, I'm just holed up on that island. I've shipped up 2 infantry corps, so there's one already that came around by boat that's dug in, and I've pulled up another one from a bit further south as well, because I really want to try and hold Polarny and maybe even push back here, so I'm hoping to make advantage. In fact, I've got lots of units and I think I've got the artillery advantage as well with the amount I've shipped up, so I'm hoping I can at least win this localised fight. There's also, if I need it, I've got a mechanised company just hanging around down here. There's some mech. No, in fact, they're not. They've moved up as well. So yeah, there's even tanks up there now. So it does leave this bit a bit exposed. I do need to, I think, ship another infantry corps up north into Sweden, but we'll see. It's not at the end of the day. It's not the main playing field on the scale of the fight. So the next day I want to give a quick brief overview is the Carolina. Carolina, I think that's how you pronounce it. So I pulled everything back from the front line, probably left it one turn too late, so there's a couple of units that are probably going to get caught. But I've pulled them back where there's much better choke points around swamps and lakes, etc., to basically just do a fight and retreat there. I'm not going to really try and hold that, but it's, tough country, so I don't imagine the supply situation is going to be great. And one of the big things now is rail damage is on, so he won't be able to advance particularly fast up here, I think. So as you can see, north of Leningrad, I've done pretty much the same. Pulled the guys back from the border, dug them in around the lakes and the natural choke points, just to try and slow the finish up as much as possible. So we'll see how that one goes. Leningrad itself, the defences there are pretty meagre, but the militias have started manoeuvring now, so I've manoeuvring. The militias have stood up anyway, so I've been deploying them to try and start the basis of the next defensive line, as well as I'm moving more people just to guard this gap at Novara because there's guerrilla activity, and the last thing I need is some guerrilla units slipping through here. So this is the Riga area. As you can see, we've managed to beef up the defences around Riga, mostly pulling units back off the islands really. Down the south, we've pulled in some corps. We've got another corps just sitting in trains waiting to try and fill this gap here. The big problem is down here, down in Dagavapils. Oh, my Russian pronunciation's terrible. Unfortunately, he came in hard and ran an armoured panzer regiment basically straight over the airborne that were holding the bridge, and he's captured that bridge intact, which is a bit of a problem, and it's a panzer division, so although it's low in supply, I'm not going to be able to take it out, so I've just built up a defence there to stop him turning that into much of a choke point. And we'll see how he gets on. I don't think he's going to get much supply because it's all cut off anyway just now. So running down the line here, you can see I've got some sparser defences along the river. It's not great, and we've got that solid line now there dug in properly between Vibeski and Orisha, so there's not an easy path around through the rivers anyway for him there. You can see now as we come down to Minsk, he's made full contact here. I ain't going to be able to hold very long looking at the state of the troops. I'm just trying to cover the flank a bit so that if I need to withdraw, something might survive. But I figured this is horrible, woody, boggy terrain. The best thing I can do here is force him to just hang around in it and lose supply. But as you can see, he's coming in quite hard here again with a big concentration of artillery, which is one thing I've noticed he's doing a lot of, and pushing through. So we'll see how that goes. Now to the south of Minsk, I think I've caught him a little bit off guard here because this is the fight gets interesting. So we come down here to Gomel. So this got messy. Last turn he dropped paratroopers behind and some units I had in trains. I lost like maybe one regiment or something like that, but I managed to take out both the special forces units and get the factory out of Gomel more to the point. And what's happened since is I don't think he appreciated just how much stuff I've got here. Because up here I managed to capture run into a convoy of engineers that were in trains. Like here he's just pulled up a bunch of infantry divisions. Oh, maybe I should attack them rather than the artillery. What I'm trying to do is take out his artillery basically, because I think his plan is to use the artillery to blast straight through. Because as I found out here, initially this bit here just looked like it was a little recon unit, and I pushed it away and then tried to retreat a unit, and suddenly all the artillery in the world opened up and completely destroyed my infantry regiment. So realising that, say I've just swarmed the whole area with stuff, and I've managed to get again attacking the artillery park. So my goal is to try and take out his artillery and force him to spend infantry, because what I think his tactic is to try and minimise the loss of manpower by using his material power. So the armour comes in sparingly. He's, as I mentioned earlier, he's got a lot of units. If we scroll over here, but you'll see there's a lot of units that are just, these have been surrounded, some of these from turn 1. And he's not moving, he's just happily letting them starve in the wire and bombarding them. And I think that's because he's trying to do his best to keep his manpower intact. So he's concentrating his artillery in some key points he's trying to blast through. And otherwise he's keeping his manpower intact. So like I said, up north at Minsk he's got a concentration, down here he's got a concentration of artillery. And otherwise, unless he can go round the flank, he's not pushing hard at all. So if I scroll down there from Gomel, you can see sort of there's more infantry hanging around there, so I'm not too worried about him coming that way just now. As we come down to Kiev, I managed to get some proper defences dug in around Kiev, so I'm comfortable there. Up here, though, I kind of get caught off guard. He managed to surround an entire corps now trapped in here in a messy, messy fight, so I'm trying to hit the recon, because a lot of his recon is now low on supply, so if I can get that out, that'll lower his ability to manoeuvre. And I'm covering the northern flanks here and trying to rebuild my line a bit, but there's a big gap here that he's coming in quite hard. He's going to drive through there and cut my line if I'm not careful. So south, you can see now the line is pretty much fully engaged. Now I'm curious to see what he does. He's had a little push there with a mechanised division, which I've got reinforcements in position to sort of swamp. I'm not trying to fight them back, I'm just trying to swarm them as they come through. But there's a lot of stuff to the south that just isn't engaged yet at all, so I'm not hugely concerned. The battle line's pretty solid there. And you come down to Odessa. Odessa's turned into pretty much a fortress, and I'm bringing in more by ship. So that's hopefully going to be a thorn in his side as well. But it does look like, sort of as I discussed in some of the other videos, he's coming straight down the middle, looking at the concentrations of artillery. He's massed it all in what looks to be two places, Minsk and Gomel. So I think that's where the fight is now, so I'm shipping in units as fast as I can to try and slow him down. And the goal is just to make him pay in blood. I want to force him to fight with his infantry against my guys dug in horrible terrain. I want to try and weaken his manpower, and I don't want to give him nice encirclements, which is what he's trying to do, I think, is a very, very neat little break through the line, encircle a bunch of guys, and then just sit and let them starve. I'm pretty sure that's what he's doing now. I think I've got a handle on it. And what he doesn't want to do is do a head-on attack, which seems odd because his units are just that much more dominant than mine. But I'm not going to argue the point if he wants to do that. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens. But yeah, it's been a couple of lower key turns. The German pace of advance has definitely slowed, and now, as I said, with rail damage on, I expect it to slow a lot more now. Because you'll soon run out, any big breaches should run out of railhead pretty quickly. So that is a big help to me as well. The other key thing is basically I'm trying to work out if I can get something behind him in the swamp, because he's got all those units coming through the swamp, but his supply line there, especially with rail damage, pretty much is relying on that one main railway line through there. But I've not sneaked anything through. He's been quite careful at guarding it so far. But we'll see what happens from there, really. So yeah, that's the end of turn 4. Rise in the militia. You can't see them here. I'll not go through them all, but Moscow and everywhere else is just now swarming with militia units, because peasants with rifles are exactly what you need against panzers. But that's what we'll go with. And other news as well, the Russian Air Force has started to reappear and rebuild itself. It's not in any state I can put it into the fight yet, but another turn or two, I should be able to start contesting in some of the smaller theatres at least. So we'll see how that one gets on. Right, catch y'all later.